7:00.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's 7:05 PM on Wednesday, July, I wish,
Yeah.
February 7th, and I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. With us tonight is Tom Parkins, Andy Olderman, Maury Creighton, Dean Nahadas, and myself. Mike is going to be joining us by phone, and I think Peter is expected, and Greg Federson.
Yeah, I'm on here, Sarah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. I couldn't print the agenda, so I'm looking off of minutes. One of the things I want, thanks. One of the things I wanted to say at the beginning is, there might be confusion with members of the public expecting us to be discussing the school department budget tonight. And we decided not to hear it tonight because the school was just voting on the budget last night. So we tentatively have it scheduled for Thursday, February 22nd. We might rethink that because that's school vacation week.
Yeah, it's gonna be problematic for, payroll always goes away.
Okay, yeah. So we'll need to figure out what we do. And then, so the first item on the agenda is the fiscal year 24 second quarter report. We had wanted to see that in order to kind of validate the budgets we were voting for. So we put a number on hold, waiting for this report. Did people have an opportunity to look at it? I kind of glanced at it.
I did a quick glance.
I didn't see anything totally out of whack. Thought some of the revenues were interesting.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes, Mike.
The only thing that I saw that was out of whack in a good way that I think we just need to address for the next fiscal year was the investments, right? Like the interest
Yes.
income.
Yep.
I mean, look, none of us has a crystal ball. We're not going to know where interest rates are going to go, but the reality is interest rates are very high and they're not going to drop to zero in the next, 6-9 months, right?
Right, and perhaps we can find, is it possible to find out, Greg, what the investment returns have been like over the last 3 years or something like that, so that we can take a look? I don't know, they seem really erratic to me, and I don't quite understand why. Because the market hasn't been all that erratic. Okay, so we'll check into that, Mike.
Yep. Thanks.
In terms of red flags, the overtime for both the police and fire. So
Yeah.
those are, in terms of what stands out. Those are the big numbers.
I have a question on what 60,000 in legal fees have been this year so far. Is it just miscellaneous stuff or any big driver?
Legal fees are running very high.
Yes.
Big driver of that is the appeal for the 40B.
Okay, so
That's taking up over half of that number.
They have to file,
They were filing all the pre-filed testimony
okay.
a couple of weeks ago. So it's not only paying the lawyer, but also paying the expert witnesses.
Yeah. That makes
So that'll continue until March.
mid-March.
Yeah.
Right, because the evidentiary public hearing starting on March
March 4th.
4th, and it could last for 2 weeks, and you're gonna have council there. And I think there's 2 people from council participating, right? So,
So we may need a supplement to the legal account for this year's out.
Well, we're 50%, so it won't be that much. Yeah. So it's a bit,
Our burn rate has been pretty high, right?
Right, so,
We're spending like 30,000 a month right now, so.
And we probably don't have
okay, so.
January, we probably don't have the legal time spent in December because it would have been billed. In January.
I think the December bill has been paid.
Okay, but January, they would have been busy too because they had, the town had to file their pre-trial testimony on December 19th, and then the intervener had to file like the first week in January, and then the rebuttal and, you know, so it's a lot of time.
So that might be a third flag to our reserve account.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed was unemployment's up pretty high. Did we fire somebody?
The dispatchers.
Oh, okay. So that was from the beginning of the year? So it's not continuing?
Well. Are we over? So we're just 6 months,
Okay, okay.
6 months from July.
So we finished in
So
December.
we just finished.
Okay, okay.
So the 1,200 shouldn't increase that
I don't think it will grow much, you
At least it's a little number.
know.
It's
Right.
time to figure out who we fired. Well,
Greg, on the quarterlies, do the numbers hit when the bill gets paid, or does the number change when they get in, when the invoice goes into the system? Is it payables driven or?
Well, so this is a truncated. I don't think she's showing all the encumbered dollars.
Which she does at the end of the year, the bills received but not paid.
I'm sorry,
At the end of the year, she shows that,
yes,
because their bills received but
but
not
on the
paid.
more detailed monthly, she does show us
Okay,
encumbered monies.
okay.
So she doesn't have an encumbered column here,
So this is actuals.
so I think she's just showing.
I was just taking a look down on the expenditures on line 217, which is the regional school district. And it's 58%, which is not far off, but because it's such a huge number. Is that pretty typical?
Yeah,
They basically bill us, right?
we may have already given them the January.
Okay.
Payment, so that would be,
So we're paying monthly?
yeah.
Oh, okay. How often we pay?
It's theoretically we pay monthly, sometimes they're behind. We double up in a month.
They're only good to do.
Right.
And what about North Shore Hotel?
That I believe is, I want to say that's quarterly.
Oh, okay, I thought maybe it was annually, okay. Because we paid 3 weeks. Yeah.
Thereabouts.
What did you say the per student was then?
I think it's 20 up there. Oh, I don't know. That's 20.
What for people costs?
There were 11,
11, right? 11 students.
11 last year and 13 this year.
There's 13 this year,
Right.
so 13 in the 245.
850 roughly. That's a number that might have bust out a week or two ago and
Yeah, no, that's not.
I just thought, well, because when we were talking about the relative student costs for Manchester and Essex, and then we were talking about the book tech cost, the book tech cost was substantially higher than what Essex was paying for the district costs for that. And so was
but our number for the Vogue might be different than Essex's number.
Yeah.
not on a per student basis.
I think it was,
Are they at
We're
their
paying
full?
19,781 for the vote check, this year's budget for 13
Okay.
students
It's 13 students.
for this fiscal.
Oh, I'm sorry, I plugged in 15 students.
That was 13 on October 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that's my
think
mistake, and
the
that's-
number more.
well, the data going in was bad. So,
That's no good.
okay,
Works that one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, please.
Okay. Anything else on this? Quarterly report? The other thing
I was just gonna ask Greg if he had any concerns about it or anything that was running excessively high or you're worried about.
Just not beyond those three things, the overtime, the public safety and legal. I'm a little nervous about IT, but. Excessively so.
The IT. What is our arrangement with Danvers again? We have an IT person here who supports the staff,
We have a contracted IT person who supports the staff,
that's paid.
under our contract directly with the vendor. For is the name of the company.
So is it hourly or
No,
flat
it's,
fee?
it's a monthly flat fee.
Okay,
And that buys us, forget how many hours a week.
Okay.
of Service. On an average basis, so somebody, so we hire somebody.
sure, okay. Then if you go over, you pay more.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Is that under a person, professional services in
No.
your budget or? I'm just.
It's a separate IT
IT,
budget.
yes, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those expenses that go to that salary service. Page 63.
Yeah, so it's expenses because it's a contract, not a salary. Yeah.
Yeah, under that. Under that one number, there's a lot of different elements.
That's,
So there's annual software costs, and the accounting software is like 32,000 a year. The Microsoft 365, it's a pretty good number.
yeah,
So there's lots of different elements that make up that one.
Can I ask you questions so I understand it better? Under insurance or property liability, is that something that's already been paid and you're expecting?
Yeah, we pay that in July. Yeah. And we get a discount by paying it all upfront.
shouldn't be running pretty good with that. Low floor seats. But I wouldn't want to.
Yes,
Overall, yes, I saw the outfit.
yeah. No, I understand. It's down that street too.
No, this probably hasn't caught up yet, but vehicle excise is always a big one. Is that,
The big
Is that-
hit comes in right this time of year.
are you feeling like your things are coming in on schedule or?
The bills haven't gone out.
I don't,
Oh, they haven't gone
I
out.
don't know if the bill's not out.
I think she
Okay.
told me like February 16th or something. Next week, this week or next week they go out and then they're due like middle of. Like March 15th.
Okay, all right. So-
That must be the same day water and sewer is due, I think, because I went to wrote one check for both things and that was it.
I'm not expecting any changes, or I'm expecting to be on target.
And boat excise is quarterly, just like the real estate.
Yes.
It's March 1st. That's what, yeah.
So, at this halfway mark for this current year, nothing really jumps out that would cause me to make a big change in any of the proposals for what's before you.
It seems like we could bump up the boat excise from 50. Since we're already at 26 this year. But,
We get revenues.
right,
Yes,
yes, yes. The, we had budgeted 15,000 and we got 26 last year, and then this year we budgeted 14,800, we already got the 26. So those bills must have been paid already here. Or something. That's next
Yeah,
10K.
we are, some of our receipts, we're still estimating, we're conservative.
Yep.
Not really 100%.
It's fine.
And recreation goes into a revolving fund rather than come to the town.
But yeah, such a, yeah, we're on the wrong.
So it doesn't impact what we're doing. Just impacts what portion of that we use to fund their budget.
Any sense, Greg, about new growth? And what that's looking like for first half of the year? Compared to prior?
Yeah, I haven't checked those numbers lately. This conversation with her was that they seem to be tracking. Yeah, in terms of the permitting, permit being achieved. So the. Permit for PST now skew that significant. Because that'll be a big permit bill.
That would be,
That will probably be a year from now, right? Or
no, it's gonna be before 2 years.
Depending how quickly things go, it could be. Depending on the vessels, could be.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason I'm saying that is because when we issued the variance was good for a year. And they had some concerns that it might not have pulled a building permit.
That was for the second phase.
No, that was for the first phase.
Oh, really?
That they said they would have begun excavation and stuff, but they might not have actually pulled a building permit. Yeah.
I should know, what is the building, what's the permanent as a percent of?
It's $6 per thousand. I think I have that right. I think that's what I was told.
That went up to 8.
Oh, excuse me.
So that's gonna be a big number.
That's what we think.
That's why they're not paying it early.
No, that's probably understandable, but the timing of that is. We always talk about the free cash and reserves, that's gonna hit
But
if we don't budget that in.
But most people do the foundation permit separate. It's a smaller number.
So do we know
So
how
they
long
do.
the whole construction is theoretically gonna take?
Couple of years.
Thought they wanted to move in 2025. 2026, was it? Yeah. Yeah.
So. We thought that phase one was gonna be like.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good chunk of revenue coming out as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a spot.
Maybe, well, there might be one or two if they do phase one and phase two thing.
Phase 2, I think, is what's off. From what they indicated. They didn't know when they were going to do phase 2.
So we were talking one point like about 150.
Yeah.
So will phase one be after that or
More than half of it.
So say it's.
If you look at the plans, I want to say 2/3 of the parking garage is built in phase 1. And all of the lobby and the entrance is built in phase 1. So phase 2 includes an addition to the parking garage of maybe 1/3
Mhm.
and another lab L. So phase 2 is significantly smaller than phase 1, and they're doing, I think, all the infrastructure in phase 1. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think when we issued the variance in December. So we could get. Yeah, so we could get money in the fiscal year 20. You're right, we should begin permit fees in fiscal year 25. Right. So we gotta figure out what to do about that. Okay, anything else on the spoiler report? No. Okay, the next two items on the agenda, I'm thinking maybe we should defer until we do the funding for capital strategy, and that was the debt, total town debt history, debt limits, and the history of the general fund taxation applied to capital projects. That makes sense to defer.
And we did update, in the code line, the debt page to, it was annotated the various bonds
Okay,
to identify what they were for.
okay, good. Oh, great. Okay,
So if you go online, you can see that.
It's government watch that by type of.
okay.
If you want hard copy, I'm sure that copies for him.
I've been having her send me the spreadsheet,
Yes.
because that's much easier for me to use.
Yeah.
In ClearGov, I didn't ever quite figure out.
Okay.
Well, the nice thing about the spreadsheet is,
Oh, it's fine.
and I have a copy, so like if we do something different at a meeting, I can kind of plug that in
Yes.
and kind of know how it's impacting the tax rate. So it just, it's a
Yeah.
guesstimate, you know, it's not precise, but it's,
But it allows you to sort of track it.
yeah, plenty. Okay. So the next thing we received was the information on the staffing history and the staffing changes for this year. Greg sent that with
That was
those
the week
other two.
before, last week.
Oh.
Last week I sent you those, yeah.
It was in the same email with the town debt and the history of the general fund, I think. Have to find it.
Should have been, you know, sent you a week ago.
Was it a week
Yeah.
ago?
117 of this annual comprehensive.
Page,
I think it was four, I told you. The last two pages are the staffing changes, and then a chart from the annual audit. The chart that shows 2014 till 23. Staffing by department, by category, general government, public safety.
says, that connection, so. but no person.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And when did you send that, Greg? Do you know?
That was last Wednesday.
See the 31st.
Yeah.
Send it, right?
The first.
Yeah, it was labeled background materials requested. Sure, I downloaded it.
Pretty interesting. We really haven't
It was the,
gained any employees.
I don't. That was the 31st, I don't have a time, the time.
Is the only one got.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we've added a bunch, you know, on our links, but,
Same as 2015.
Yeah, that.
Right.
It's-
Yeah.
It surprises you. It does go like the last, but you have also three.
And you had dispatchers move out and you had people consolidating from one department to another. Because all these movements seem like there's more going on.
Well, we do more work contracted wise than in health. That's how, you know, DPW.
The DPW does have to do it.
It's all used to that.
What's that?
Consultants or?
No, just contract. We,
Yeah, that's.
like the drainage, I studies, I guess that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty traditional.
So people are having troubles finding it, it's on the same, it's in the same PDF as the debt,
The debt thing,
Yes,
right?
it's one PDF.
right, okay.
The debt thing is sideways, like it's.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just,
Like,
So we'll see, employee,
That employee chart probably is sideways also.
so can we talk a little bit about the proposed changes for fiscal year 25? We know about the deputy harbor master. I think we've talked about the communications coordinator. I don't think we've really talked about these land use change and the assessor change.
Right.
So if you could just, I'm confused because there were lots of part-time people taking minutes and that sort of thing, but it's my understanding we're still gonna have part-time people taking minutes and.
So we did leave that in as a safety.
Okay.
It may be too much to ask one full-time person to do all those. And so that's why we left that in. The idea is to provide one full-time clerk that is providing that support to planning board, the ZBA, and the building inspector, and have some continuity between the planning board and ZBA. Making sure that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing, and that whatever permits are issued, that clerk can be coordinating with the building inspector. So there's good transfer of information. Conditions on a permit, well communicated, building inspector knows about them and can proper follow up. And to have someone always here, so that if someone comes in and has questions or wants to explore possibly project X and they want to talk to someone, the clerk can provide that. And so right now, we have about 14 hours a week for the building inspector clerk that's currently shared with assessor's clerk. And then ZBA is about 8 hours a week on average, planning board is about 10 or 12 hours a week. And so it's combining those three, the planning board, part-time clerk, the ZBA part-time clerk, and the building inspector hours into one full-time position. And then, so by taking the hours away from the assessor clerk, I'm proposing that we backfill that and make that a full-time clerk position like it used to be. It used to be a full-time clerk. We broke it out and we took some of those assessor hours and put them over to the building inspector, when we brought the building inspector's work into that office. It used to be in the selectman's office.
So what does the assessor clerk or assistant assessor do?
So, yeah, so they're doing a lot of the filing of what the assessor, does, records on site. And
Oh,
bring
okay.
bring those dimensions and notes in, so they're putting it into the system. They're providing the bulk of the counter customer service, people coming out, a lot of real estate.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Real estate people coming in asking for information on a particular property, a lot of times.
okay,
and helping with the monthly reporting that's done, and then when we get ready for tax billing and stuff is helping with that processing all.
Now, what about, something that's come up recently is we have the D2 district, which is an overlay district, which does not appear on the assessor records. And if the MBTA zoning comes up with overlay districts, is there going to be the capability on the system to handle that? And would the,
Yeah.
oh, okay, and would the assistant assessor be the one responsible for going in parcel by parcel?
Yeah.
Okay, because
So
it,
that, those are the kind of detailed work, that
Okay.
the entry work that the assistant does.
because there was something said that it was responsibility of the ZBA. And I was wondering how the ZBA was gonna have the information to do it. Okay, because what I'm hearing, and this of course is not firsthand, is that people are coming in and for the D2 overlay, they're saying that their assessor record should reflect the D2. But that's not correct because it's only the first 100 feet. And the underlying district of B is much more restrictive. And so they're trying to get the assessor to change the assessor record so that they can build more on the lot than they're really entitled to.
Okay,
But there's nothing showing there for an overlay district.
yeah. So we do, out of the assessor's office, that's where all the mapping happens and
Okay.
GIS layers happen.
Okay,
And so, again, that would be a lot what the full-time assistant would be doing is making sure that that data is up to date, is accurate.
Okay.
So if zoning changes do occur.
right, yeah,
Those have to be entered in and work with our vendor to make sure that that's being entered correctly.
okay. Because it's important that we don't lose the underlying zoning.
Absolutely,
Yeah, oh,
absolutely.
okay. That was my. That's the
I presume full-time is 33.5 hours a week.
That's for all union people, yes.
Is that
So
so
for
typical?
department heads, for all department heads, for
Yeah,
all the union positions are 32.
and is that pretty typical amongst our sort of cohorts around the
I
region?
would say 37 and a half is more typical. You know, most municipalities will have one evening a little later,
Mhm.
but then work the half day on Friday. We don't work the half day.
Right,
That's the difference.
We used to,
we used to.
we missed that.
That was before my time, I guess, when that change happened.
I don't know, but we were a half day on Friday and we were later Thursday nights, like to 8. Or something like that. I don't know the exact time.
I've been at this long enough that Thursday used to go to 8
Yeah,
and Friday was like almost a full day. Like everybody got out at 2 or 3 and then we got to Friday. Then 8 o'clock went to 6:30 or I can't quite remember. Maybe it is 8 o'clock on
It's-
Thursday nights.
no, it's 6:30.
No, it's 6:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Just like, so the compensation chart that we did, does that factor in wages on an hourly basis as opposed to?
Yeah, it was compared on an hour. So, yeah, we look at apples to apples.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because my concern about town office being closed on Fridays, do departments head work on Fridays?
Many of us.
Okay. My concern
But
is,
technically, we're not open to the public.
okay, but my concern is that it creates a real problem with filing agendas. And if there were the ability to file agendas on Fridays, it would make an enormous difference.
We could.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that would just be really helpful because, you know, when we get through, if we have a Thursday meeting here, I'm under the gun, and a Wednesday one the next week, I'm really under the gun to get an agenda in. 'Cause the only day I can do it is Monday.
And if you have a holiday
And
coming
if
up,
there's a
it-
holiday, then I can't get it in for the next week.
Right.
Yeah,
You really have to get it. Yeah.
I have to-
You're in a bind.
I have to file the agenda for the next week before we complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's an evening meeting, and I just think it would be helpful if at least agendas could be posted on Fridays.
I guess I wonder from
The speed build of,
from the standpoint of, adding positions and increasing hours and stuff, you know, for 33.5 hour week versus 41 hours. There's an impact there. As relates to benefits and so forth. I guess I wonder what's the, you know, if there was ever sort of like a practical reason that you really needed to come claw back. How viable is that? Is that part of the negotiation?
Yes.
It's always difficult to add, easy to reduce, because I bet the salaries didn't go down.
Yeah, because it's tough to, it's also, it's one less weekday when, you know, the town office is open for business.
Right, yeah,
Well, it is, and it's, yeah, if you're, you know, if you're working and getting on the train or you're expected to be in an office at 8 o'clock, get done at 5, you really miss access to
Yeah.
town hall. You have to take time off to do it.
Right.
Except for Thursday nights, which is,
which is, if you, when I worked in Boston, I couldn't get here by 6:30, but I could get here by 8.
right.
You know. It's,
Well, you're closest to it, Greg, so it's. Your perspective on this, time goes on.
No, I mean, you raised a good point about, you know, if everyone was working 37 or 40, would you, could you cut a position?
Not that that's the goal, but, you know, certainly, I mean,
You serve the population better, because in this case, to serve the population better, you're adding more full-time or benefits. You know, you add more people and they stagger their hours, and that's expensive.
Right.
Duplicate.
The, our Thursday evening. Since COVID has disappeared. I assume because more people are working from home, that they have
Right.
more flexibility during the day. I'm sure. I assume that that's the reason for that. I mean, it's pretty empty here after 5 o'clock. We don't see very many people.
Hypothetically, I'm sure people scream at this, but if instead of the 2 hours, 3 hours on a Thursday evening, it was a Saturday morning or something like that. Do you think there'd be more traffic if you did that, or
I don't.
people pretty much do this during business hours and that's it? So the key is as much online stuff as possible.
because all the building permits are online.
Right.
CBA stuff isn't online. Well, maybe.
People are complaining about town hours. I haven't heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just give out, I don't know, but I haven't had that kind of complaint. I personally would like to see us open on Friday mornings, so
it's an extra commute for everyone.
it's an extra commute. Yeah, there'll be significant pushback from the staff. They have gotten very used to the 3 weekends.
I commute to Cambridge, I'm not sympathetic.
I think it's a
The world has on 40-hour work week, 2,080 hours a year.
Right. Plus
That's,
some.
that's the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, this is, there are companies around the country. We have a big customer in Minneapolis who works a 4-day work week.
Yeah, they're doing 4 things.
But they're, exactly.
Yeah.
And they've got a huge amount of machines set up and breakdown, so it works well for them.
Yeah.
Fridays, except for marketing and G&A are all.
Yeah.
Everybody, production's gone, but it's it's interesting.
So, I mean, it's a discussion worth having. I don't like to solve that,
Right.
in this cycle.
Right.
Certainly something that we could take a deeper dive into over the summer and just with this fall.
Maybe if there's more talk about it, it would help the next time you have to sit down. and
Right.
negotiate things.
When is the contract?
Yes, amp up
We're
the
only second
discussion.
year in,
We're,
first year.
we're finishing up the first year.
Okay.
Two more years.
Okay. So we're good on the staffing question?
Okay.
The next thing that we deferred from last meeting was a debrief on the joint meeting with Essex. Any thoughts of people?
I thought it was a good open conversation. I actually wasn't expecting, based on the last time we had a larger group meeting, which I thought was ineffective. I thought this one was very effective. There's, I thought lots of reactions, to the conversation that we had. I think there's some misunderstanding as to why people have advised the select board rather than making directives on our own. I thought it was just really have a healthy conversation to sort of acknowledge the challenge that exists in this operating perspective, to put that together with the discussion of the Essex Elementary project and the timing of that. Nothing may change when it's down to us, so be it. That's the will of everybody, but no other options.
I think it's real interesting in delaying the full payments of those bonds. So you could do big bond anticipation notes, cost you a little bit of interest. But maybe worth it.
And if the project goes ahead sooner than later,
Right.
okay, so we stay,
I mean,
you defer
Principal pay.
more than you would otherwise be paying, and that,
you basically defer principal payment for a few years.
gotcha, you just pay interest. It can, but is that has to be taken in total, as opposed to we choose to pay our end and Essex chooses to pay.
Oh,
No,
oh boy, I don't know. I think it'd have to be, everyone would have to be on the same schedule.
Right, because the bond is taken through the
It's through
district.
the district, is right. So it'd have to be a group, two-town vote on how the district deals with debt.
I don't think we get to vote on how they deal with the debt. I think we only vote on the amount of the debt. Right?
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
You authorize the total amount of what
Right.
borrow.
Yes.
That's what you vote on.
We can't control how they do it.
Give them-
Do we have any-
Yes.
Do we have any latitude on the payment structure?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
You can certainly express your preference. So we've done, that's, we would work with Bobby, we'll also go around.
Yeah, like,
Um,
that worked very well. I was
Yes.
just curious if that was a
But in terms of authority, it does rest with the district to make that final decision. In terms of how that bond is structured, payback is structured.
Now, how would the bond anticipation notes figure into the whole deferral of the project? When we're talking about something, somebody had to check on whether or not it's in the system already and can get
It's-
deferred?
It's one thing to appropriate it.
Yeah.
But we don't actually have to pay for it with taxes. We don't have to raise the tax rate to cover the payments until the payments are due.
So it doesn't take it off track. Which there was some concern, I thought.
No, I think that's a different thing we're talking about. So if the project it's in the MSBA system right now,
That's
so it's a state system. And so if it goes forward, we're probably talking about a couple of years, a year from now, where before we have to start paying. What we were talking about in the joint meeting was actually deferring the project, which would mean, that we advise the state, hey, we're not gonna do it at this time. We look forward to coming back to you when we're in a better position. And
That's the part of it I thought there was some question about whether.
Right.
well, no, it's perfectly feasible. there's no guarantee when the state takes you back into the system. I mean,
That's the risk.
You never really.
That's what you go back to the back of the line.
And the expectation is that in the interim, if it's a long enough period, you're probably gonna have to do some appropriation for some projects at the school, you know. It's like they have a worry about a roof, a boiler.
Yeah.
I will see that this, sort of, the VE report, which is the existing condition study, which sort of underlies the request of the state. There's often a lot more reliance on those than they deserve to have. You know, it's easy to sort of look at and say, well, that roof's, near the end of its useful life, we're gonna be replaced in the next 3 years. And there's a lot of conjecture there. It's usually just based on visual analysis.
And life expectancy.
But there could be a lot of variation.
I did receive a call from Jody Harris, the chair of the Essex Finance Committee. We had quite a long conversation yesterday. And she was kind of interested in doing some things. I'm not sure how that would work, but what I did commit to was to kind of have an item on our agenda when we discuss the school to kind of come up with some ideas of financial information we could request from the school. It would be reasonable. You know, maybe like the quarterly reports we get from the town, that type of thing to get more info, because we didn't used to always get those, and we kind of said we don't really know what's going on. So if people can kind of think about that a little bit and just kind of see, what you think. Might be we don't want to be burdensome, but we have a right to see the financial information.
Presumably, they are generating that information for their own purposes. So, it's a matter of pay can share with us.
Right, yeah.
So if we can.
And usually what they say is, it's on the website, go find it there, which is, in the past, what we've done, we found it, forwarded onto our committee, but
Well,
it is hard to find.
I was on the meeting last night on Zoom. And right before the meeting, I looked on their website for all the materials. It wasn't there. The minute I got off the meeting, there it was. So I was a little irritated. It was very hard to follow it. If you don't have the materials in front of you. We're talking option A, option B, option C, and you have no clue. But they did approve the middle option last night.
Did they calculate the actual portion of it?
Yes. 1.84% for us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess 1.9.
Yeah, and 4.8 or 4 for them or something, yeah. I have the printouts at home.
You did find them on the,
Yeah, and I have them on my laptop so I can forward them.
were they under the school committee or under the budget?
School committee.
That's always the agenda.
You're right, it wasn't there until after the meeting.
No, this morning, I want to shovel through the chairman.
Well, maybe it was on the budget then. I looked multiple places, but I found it last night. And that's when I started printing it and my printer went haywire. I haven't had a printer since. It didn't like the school budget.
Should go paperless, so.
So I know if
Good idea, Andy.
So on the budget page, they don't list the 2.6 materials.
Well, I found it.
So maybe it's on the school.
So,
Reports and presentations.
Yeah, look there.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry, where did you see it? You saw it?
School committee reports and presentations.
Oh, school.
I was wondering what. It might be kind of an ongoing conversation for us, but relative to the thought of revisiting the portion. I think Ben Hunter kind of has a point that I'm concerned about, which is that this will swing back our way at some point.
Sure, without a doubt.
And it's, it's uncomfortable and whichever, lap it's in. And I don't, it it would be a useful outcome if there was some way to attenuate, further attenuate, sort of the shifts in enrollment.
And I did all sorts of calculations on it,
Yeah,
and I couldn't come up with anything that was any better.
So they were talking about going from a 3-year to a 5-year rolling.
It wouldn't make any
It
difference.
just,
It doesn't make any
with a
difference.
10-year,
Oh, I mean,
Well,
it smooths the curve.
but it's not that,
but it makes the shift longer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
So,
So, to me,
okay, I don't wanna get into a long discussion on the apportionment form tonight. We can talk about it when we do the school budget if we want to. But what people do need to remember is that authority solely rests with the school committee.
gotcha.
And unless and until the school committee decides to look at it, it's off our table,
that's,
okay? But we certainly can talk about it the night when we talk about the school budget.
well, it's good to know. Essex, I know they held the line on 2.5, but at the meeting, the big takeaways, they can find something.
We don't know.
Beyond,
I don't,
but 4.8 seems like it's a bit of a stretch.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I think they've got money in reserves. I don't know. They've got a reserve account for the schools. They have loads of reserve
They
accounts.
have a lot of reserve, I thought that too.
Yeah.
So asking a hypothetical question, it seems like the dialogue continues to be the loudest on the subject of reducing the cost to Essex. And no one's, I don't think, or fewer people are asking the uphill question, which is, what is it doing to the district? And I guess the question for us and others is, do we think the school is okay with the budget they've put forward, or do we think they're cutting to the bone and their product is gonna diminish over the next year or 2 or 3 or 4? And,
Let's hold that till we talk about the school
okay,
department budget. I think that they responded to all the tier 1 requests they had from the principals and stuff. And their health insurance went from 14 down to 8%. So that's the difference in the budget. And they were able to take 66,000 of that to spend on things they want to spend. So I think,
Is that an explanation of the shift in the curve funds?
estimate versus action.
and it's a little bigger spread than normal, but it's typical.
Yeah.
So, you ask your broker in the fall, they said, well, I would budget, a high number, I would budget 14%.
They always put it.
It's, they want to be the hero of Thompson. Good news.
is that rather big, good news than bad news?
There's, it's only twice the inflation rate.
Okay. So now we're ready to start the general government operating budget. I thought we'd start tonight and we don't need to finish it tonight. Let's see how far we get. Do you have anything overall you want to say about it? Craig, or have you said everything you wanted to say?
Yeah, well, I think we can just dive in.
Okay,
Oh, general government, let's see, hop around, but I guess it starts around 57, right?
So which particular branch are we starting?
general government.
That's not it.
Town administrator.
58.
That's great.
Yep. So, high level, did you see a higher salary number because that reflects that engagement hours with patients coordinator? For that? It's part of that total salary line. So that's why that number is higher. We did increase legal. So we went, currently at 110, we boosted it to 150, breaking it out, 100,000 for legal and 50,000 for other professional services. So other professional services, different consultants that we might use during the. Project or two.
Is that where the money came from for the compensation study?
Yes. Yeah, compensation study is a good example, some of this governance work that the board has been doing. So for that, if we hire a recruiting firm to help with my replacement, that would be part of that.
Now, I happen to have the spreadsheet, which has a little more detail. And I noticed the percentage on the assistant to the board went up 5.86%. Is that a combination of contract from last year and maybe
Oh,
a
it's-
recent step?
It's because, again, the number you see in 24 reflects the smaller. The original numbers doesn't reflect the full increase that we had. Right, so all the salary numbers show a bigger increase because the original 24 numbers showed 2.5.
Yeah.
And it came out 3.
Oh, they got 3.5, okay.
So there's an extra percentage there,
And what are they getting this year?
3.
Okay,
So, so it was 3.5, 3 and 3. For the contract.
and is that based on fiscal?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Greg, given what is going on this year so far, do you think 150 is enough? Looking at actual for 23 and actual for 22.
Right. I mean, yeah, I have doubts that it is enough. But on the other hand, 40B will be in sort of dormant stage, it'll be on hold. It'll take the full year basically before we get a decision.
Hard to estimate.
And frankly, I see that as an area where we ask for a supplement at the annual town meeting to make up the difference if we have to, or your reserve.
Follow up on the communications coordinator. Is that a promotion for Tiffany or is it a new position?
It's just an expansion of hours.
Okay, yeah, so it's kind of
So she's currently basically 3/4 time.
vice. Okay.
This would bring her to full time, the 33.5. The audit is up. It's a full audit for the OPEB. Yes, and that's in every other year.
So that means the audit is done July of 2024.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Town report, we can probably reduce that. So the discussion the other night with the select board was to change our practice and not deliver an annual report to every household, which is to make them available both online and at town meeting and then around town prior to town. This number is starting to grow and also getting more difficult to assemble them and
Compete available online, they'll just hand them out at town meeting.
Yes.
Or you say they come available at town.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we could probably cut that number in half.
Okay. We like that.
We're not cutting the length of the report in half those.
We're just counting the number of printing.
I'm gonna cut the length of the FinCom report this year.
So
It's a little repetitive. And it's gonna be shorter and then they won't have as much printing.
Would it be half of the actual this year, the 17.6 or half of the 14?
No, I'm not comfortable with the half. The 17, there was an extra long set of minutes because of all of the, zoning changes
Yeah.
that took place. So
Yeah.
it was, it added literally a dozen pages right there, so that was in the novel. I think 7 would be fine. That HR piece is an outsourced. Very part-time HR coordinator that we share with Hamilton. Well,
How's that working?
okay, it's going fine. You know, there are times when I wish we certainly had more hours for time. It's hard on her, just because running between 3 towns is taxing. It may be that Blackfoot is seriously considering bringing out full-time HR. So, one of them will pick up, I'm sorry, Hamilton will pick up the difference. So she don't have the 2 towns.
Oh, okay.
So that would make her life a lot easier.
That's interesting, because isn't Hamilton bigger than Rockport?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they're thinking of going to an assistant town administrator / HR
Oh, okay.
combination position.
Yeah.
Which is a typical model. Yeah. Level funded, a number of these next items are level funded. We've had some higher expenditures in printing and advertising, but typically we cover that in the under someplace else, so.
I was gonna say, what's the difference between printing and advertising and newsletters and notices as far as?
Also printing, so typically advertising, so public hearing notices
Are different?
versus the newsletter,
Okay,
the quarterly newsletter, it's some kind of.
oh, okay, that's what that.
We went way up on newsletters notices. Well, that's because the actual cycle. We doubled the office supplies, but actual was under 1,000.
Yeah, I can't remember going. Let's see.
I'd like to revert to online paper. There's no notes on this spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, there isn't. Drawing a blank on that one, I'm sorry, I don't remember the rationale. But the other expenses, all told, well, now that we got in 7,000, will be a reduction overall.
So it'll be 608, 699. Oh, no. This number's different.
I'm sort of struggling with this number thing, so. The selectmen's salaries are $351.99, which is what's on the spreadsheet, what's in the book. And then the expenses are $66,500, which is on both. But the bottom line number is $417,699. And yet the bottom number over here is $650.
It's the audit is down below. The audit and IT, the audit is down below.
Okay. But on the IC, okay, so we got.
Yeah, I see, yeah, yeah, that 615 number includes,
I see what's going on here, okay, yeah. This is sort of, because IT is on the next page of the paper book. Right? At
Yeah, but the spreadsheet has 4
Right.
ones.
in this, the spreadsheet, we
It's
have,
way off. 465,699.
Oh, yeah. Up 0 cent. So. Yep. 665, 650. If you.
So. It's laid out a little differently. We just combined different.
The legal expenses too were added in the book.
Right.
Yeah,
You got legal and audit added in.
right.
It's all the bold numbers.
Yes.
So the total is now 608,699. By reducing the number of reports by 7.
Yeah.
Right.
So are we through discussing this?
Yes.
Are we ready for a motion? So
Second.
Lori seconds. Any discussion? Tom?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Lori?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes,
Sarah? Yes. Mike, are you on?
Drop off.
Okay. Next is information technology. Good enough.
So it's a big number. It's, I can walk you through what it comprises of.
Mhm.
So the higher vendor, for is, just over 33,000 a year, 33,300. Our financial software package is 38,151. Cost of our, internet, host is 5,000. Expenses 5322. That's the lease. And then, the lease to purchase it was a lease to buy
Okay.
all the headsets. And then the actual telephone expenses are 19,200. Microsoft 365 is 26,000. Other cloud subscriptions are 3,000. Comcast internet connection is 8,000. Danvers IT support is a total of, there's two numbers. It's a total of about 19,000. It's 5621 for the sort of standard service, and then another 13,600 for the cybersecurity services. And then the ClearGov is 17,500. And then our permitting software is 5,200.
But I thought that is a ClearGov component to it now, or am I wrong?
Sorry,
I thought the permitting had a ClearGov component.
it, I think
Okay.
there's another element in the building inspector's
Okay,
budget.
okay.
This is. Why we break up two different elements. We got clear plans, which is part of it.
Okay.
The bigger part is the permit.
Because they changed it recently.
Yes,
You now have to log in to see the underlying permit documents that you didn't used to have to log into.
yeah, it's just, these different types of cybersecurity,
Yeah,
more cumbersome.
so, quick question, the, internet host is 53K and the Comcast internet is 8K. What's the difference?
no internet, that was 5K.
That's our web host.
Okay, so there's a license that you have to pay every year.
Right.
And it's not 53K, it's 5.3.
It's 5,000.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I just, you said 50, yeah. So it's not fun. What?
I mean, that seems pretty reasonable, given the size of the site, access and hosting and all.
But 50 would.
Any other questions on this?
So just under 180,000. 179.9.
So perhaps it's sort of a counterintuitive question, but, given all the cyber stuff and IT things going on, do you feel the budget is enough for what you're doing?
I do. I feel much more comfortable with the Amherst, or team.
Right.
I think that they've upped our game significantly, so I'm more comfortable than I was. And in addition to that, we do have some money in capital for hardware replacement.
What's your plan, what's your schedule on replacing like laptops? Do you have a specific schedule?
Yes,
Oh,
I don't know the top of my head.
Once a decade,
Was that?
once a decade.
Yeah, no, we're a little better than that.
we used to always be every 3 years.
It's like 3 or 5.
Yeah.
It seems the changes have been slowing down. All the new developments.
Everything's going subscription based,
Right.
and so.
So everything's in the cloud, subscription based.
More money.
More VPN, less taxing on these things.
Right, these we have
More about-
dummy terminals, but yes.
Or not your internet access.
Yeah. I mean, and that's longer term, so eventually we will not have any servers basically here, we don't all be through the.
Well, our IT guy works and it's safer to go in the cloud.
The only thing that's challenging, we find, is that, a lot of cloud software gets changed. I don't think there's anything you can do about it, but it gets changed for reasons that don't always make sense. And then the interaction between various programs and stuff changes. So, for example, we do a lot of design work in our company. We use programs like SolidWorks Pro E. We have stuff coming in from aircraft companies like CATIA. And they go and change these programs and add 9 new features, and then suddenly it doesn't match
Yeah, we
with
play well with the updates.
3D printers, machine shop equipment. It's like, whoa.
And they don't
it's
tell
all
you they're
because
doing
of some
it.
little button
Yeah.
that they think is important
Yeah.
that cripples you.
Yeah.
So I find we spend more time dealing with that sort of stuff, and it pops up on you like on a Thursday morning when there's an upload, and it's like, oh. So hopefully that's not an issue.
But we don't really have that so much. We're pretty clean now in some ways.
Keep it that way.
So I have a motion to approve the information technology budget in the amount of 179,900.
So moved.
Maury moves, do you second, Andy?
Sure, yes. That's my heard. Well, yeah, so even at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, you can second it.
I'll
Tom. Okay. Any more discussion? Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy, Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and Sarah said yes. Town hall and common. So this,
So these are just the building, the 2 town hall and Seaside One, basically.
just,
So we have shifted a lot of these expenses to facilities.
Yeah.
So really, you're just seeing the utilities here primarily.
does it make sense next year to move all of this to facilities?
Yes,
Yeah, get rid of some of these little things.
yeah, yeah. As I was saying, you said.
Okay,
why don't we just move them all?
Yeah,
Is the water bill, it's the water bill, a simple water bill, or is it bottled water or coolers or? I have,
Yes, it's the one cruise.
okay,
and why do we do the water course? That just really irritates me if I, as a resident paying taxes, am using town water, why does the town hall have to have bottled water?
Well, if we're talking about PFAS, I would think. a good
But bottled water's not tested for it.
It's actually,
Exactly. So that-
it's actually the kind of water coming through.
Oh, filter.
In a hot or cold.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's not bottled water. Like it's-
Okay,
it's-
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
And I must say, staff really like it, you get fizzy water, you get hot water, you get
Okay.
cold water.
Keep it.
it's a same class, for $1,000.
If you can indulge us that 2,200, it'll keep some harmony. I did try to take one away and I.
that was a bad idea.
I said, you can't go down the stairs, we didn't run on each floor.
You lost more in employee time complaining about it than the savings you
I
had.
did, I learned the hard way not to mess with this.
Custodial services, I know last year we.
That's moved to the facilities.
The
It's not
facilities.
here, so it's here.
And is that working pretty well?
It is, it's,
Great.
I must say, Corey does a great job,
I hear positive things about it.
very positive.
Yeah,
What was that?
the custodian,
Custodian
Corey.
Corey, who we have on staff, is just,
Yeah.
it's been night and day.
Yeah.
Good night.
Libraries happy with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That was the big one,
that worked well.
yeah.
A little anxiety over that, but Corey's such a.
He's very nice. I think he's a really nice person too, that people like. He always says, I finally figured out who he was. He says hello to me when I enter the building and I had no clue who he was, so I just always say hello back.
Yeah.
You know, so he says hello to everyone. He's like,
Hard worker, nice
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
But we're lucky to have him.
Is the electricity cost, is that, that's been up the last couple of years, is that a function of increasing rates? Or is it, or also a little bit increasing usage of the VRFs?
It's a combination,
Because
you know, so when,
full air conditioning now where you didn't have it before. Yeah.
we do have better air circulation in the building, but you pay for it.
And remind me, could we consider PV on the
Town hall roof,
Yes,
the harbor,
yeah,
really self-facing.
you know, the last time, and it's been a few years.
Yeah.
But the last time we looked at the vendor thought it was too small of a roof to justify.
town hall roof?
Yeah, so, you know, the bigger roof goes east, west. The two smaller ones go south.
Yeah, but there's nothing shading the east and west, and so the sun would be high enough to,
Well, the big chestnut tree.
or just cut it down.
Find some trees, straight up here, straight up your boys.
Aren't the main, is the main roof this side and that side?
Yeah,
It's not.
The middle, it's this high.
oh, okay. I don't know.
But we can take another look at it because things have changed significantly in the last 4 or 5 years.
Right,
I'm sure. So it's probably worth a revisit. In fact, I think Nate's been talking to the company.
I mean, you'd think the fire department too would be perfect.
So
candidate.
500 is a prime candidate. That
This is south
roof-
facing a huge roof.
But that roof needs to be replaced before we put it on.
Yeah,
So those shingles are too old to put on
right.
top of it.
As an aside, I went to visit today the geothermal installation that's going in Framingham,
Oh, yeah.
by Eversource. Sort of a municipal, like 1 mile loop that they're doing on a portion of the town and 3 different geothermal fields. And was visiting, they're finishing up the last site and it's interesting that the company that's doing it, we've been sort of talking with in my office for some other projects. And their subsidiary of Schlumberger, which is a biogas research company who are perfectly expert in
It really holds.
Whereas, you know, no, not to disparage the, you know, the well drilling community, but they're a lot less, you know, sophisticated in, you know, sort of drinking water wells and geothermal applications. And so these guys do this kind of inclined well normally doing like vertical loops. And
Yeah.
it's closed loop, they're like 20 feet apart, 500 feet down or so. And these guys do something where they might drill from a certain position that's might be a rectangular shape, where it's like 6 feet by 20. And they'll drill lines.
Oh, okay, out.
And maybe like unplugged or one.
Oh, interesting.
Telemetry as well, so they can track the exact position. That they will find. They also might want to capture. So that's a conventional test well that was done by another company. Precedent to this project, and they went and investigated that borehole to see, track where it went. There was like a public housing project that was like 150 feet away. The well went underneath the public housing project.
Well, there's like no control, and apparently in the arrays, when you do the conventional systems, it's not unusual to have two boreholes that might like.
There's two interesting data points. Sarah works for DCAM and they've just put in 180 geothermal wells at Mass Maritime on the football field.
Yeah.
And they all go straight down. And apparently it's gonna cover, I think, 60% of the heat and cooling load of the facility. A good friend, Dennis Carlberg, who was the BU. So they had 3 contractors come in and drill a single well each.
Yeah.
And then they voted, or they analyzed which one was the straightest, and that was the contractor they picked to do all the wells for the Leeds building. Which is, to your point about going straight, that's a good way to do it.
Especially when you're close quarters.
Yeah. They can't go like into the Charlottes or something.
Yeah, I hear it's really picking up steam and a lot of residents are doing it.
So you should be thinking about it.
Most people, the house was built,
Seriously, I mean, capital.
maybe 7 or 8 years ago. they
Big capital.
Yeah,
It's good sentence.
It's you kind of feel on the electric bill, if it's increasing due to the electric charging. The vehicle, I mean. Would you expect to see decreased gas go to increased electric at some point
Some of that increase is certainly due to that.
in there, yeah?
I would expect it's
Take it.
marginal, just
Yeah.
based on those charging stations.
yeah, but we're giving 2 hours of free electrical services to anybody who wants to pull in there, right?
So we could charge for
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah,
But we're probably seeing it in reduced gas costs for police. Right?
no, I'm talking non-public.
Oh,
employees.
non-public, yeah.
Any resident can pull their car out back, and I believe the first 2 hours is free.
That's how it's set up.
Yeah,
Right.
um,
But I mean, just looking at the electrical.
and it's used a lot,
infrastructure
I've
of this
noticed.
building.
Yeah,
I mean,
more and more.
we've got all this AC and heating and the ventilating systems that are all down below us on the front. I mean, that's the bulk of the usage.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
That's-
electricity demand happening.
But it's more efficient electrical use than the strictly years.
Oh, yes,
and it seems to me that the temperature in town hall runs pretty high.
it's warm.
Yeah,
But it is governed.
but it's not, anyone can change it, right?
They can change it by a degree or two.
Oh, okay,
Is that warm in the winter or you mean in the summer?
in the winter.
I don't think.
I come into meetings in here, I've had, in room 7, I've had to turn it down, it's been so hot. Yeah. I don't know if I've turned it down right, but I moved in the thing and eventually it would shut off. It may have had nothing to do with what I did, but that's okay, it made me feel better. Okay, so we're ready to vote on town hall and common. I mean, no, we're ready for a motion.
Make a motion to approve town hall, $1,900.
Second. Dean seconds. Okay. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah says yes. Yeah.
Here's the budget right here.
Oh, yes.
Good, have it every year. Take the rest of them.
No, we're on the 4,214.
Yeah.
And our office supplies decreased.
Which one are you looking at?
The
Page 68.
finance committee, the first section, expenses, separate from the reserve fund.
Just a couple of minutes.
Can I get a check?
So you don't get gas money?
Who gets the subscription?
We have, now we have a subscription to municipal something, whatever.
Yes,
I don't know, I've never seen it.
Oh, I
It's,
used to,
it's a membership to the finance association.
Correct,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Like the thing that.
I used to get those newsletters and, they were actually fairly
I haven't
useful.
seen
I
any.
skimmed through, they were always in the mailbox.
We used to always get a disc too.
Yeah.
Right?
That, I will say the
That
thing
might
that
have
Mike
been
pointed out, I think you were on, Greg, the municipal seminar a day or two ago at lunchtime was very good.
Did you go to it?
I did.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
Oh, the
you come
overview
in,
for,
you come in online
yeah,
and, you could send around the link
for,
for
but that was the one thing on budgeting.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's good overview.
it was good.
First guy was
We
good,
can-
the second
we
guy
can,
was less. Let's see.
We can just figure the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
The PowerPoint. Right. You can also listen to it online.
I vote we approve. No.
Move to approve the finance committee in the amount of 14, for
I do.
15,
Yeah.
okay, Dee makes a motion, a second?
Right.
Andy seconds. Take a vote, Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes,
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. We've already voted on the reserve fund, we changed it from 190 to 150.
5-0. 6-0 or 5.
Five,
Not yet, sorry.
I think you weren't here that night, were you? Yeah, you were, it was January 10th.
Article 120, looking at boat, fire and police, so it's.
No, that's this year.
What was that?
Next year.
Okay. It's-
We have 190 this year. Okay, town clerk, elections and registrations. That's very high increase in salary.
So the salary has an adjustment. It's made month and a half ago. As part of this, as part of that count study. The one that was particularly low.
Is that a 1-year adjustment or is it spread over a number of years?
It's a 1 year.
Town clerk was being underpaid.
Well, percentage, but. Yes.
But that's not her total salary, correct?
No, that's for the clerk and the assistant clerk. The two
Okay.
salaries, the two salaries.
Okay, and then there's more salaries other places.
Yes.
Yes, for.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Just find it confusing.
Is she under? Can I jump ahead a little? The parking clerk salaries, is that? For her to manage the parking clerk or those for actual people who walk the streets?
That's not the people.
Yeah, so that's part of her,
That's the assistant clerk. who does-
but it's part of the same salaries.
Yes.
Yes, the same people,
Yes.
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 wear several hats. The travel and meals seem to be way higher than the actual. The dues and subscriptions have skyrocketed.
So previous clerks have not been members of the various professional associations. If the change there.
I know it's a small number, but it's a with the office of my.
What'd you say?
There's a theme with office supplies, it's a small number, but it seems like everyone look at it, like a double in the office. Not a big number.
There's some. I guess that's to make up for this year's being low, maybe,
Well, fiscal year 23 only expended 278.
right, and we went with 140 this year. Probably not. Maybe it's putting it off till next year.
Maybe that's all those car stickers.
Maybe.
It's sore fighting.
And that's
Expenses.
on the part of the big increase on the due subscriptions. So we have a new tracking software for all of the document requests, public records requests. Just with level with public records requests. So it's something, part of that big increase is the paper having a subscription for that software. So, annual cost.
I mean, it is just. It is a little curious that the actual for 23 is about $3,800 in expenses. Budgeted number is 10,000.
Right.
It's a 3x, almost a 65% increase. And, you know.
Well, printing and advertising has skyrocketed. Why is
if we-
that?
If we come in on budget, that's great, but then it all comes rolling down to reserves.
Thinking my side.
I know.
So we moved. Just looking at some notes here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the notes and it said, you know, it was moved.
Postage is moved from miscellaneous names.
Printing and advertising were moved to professional services. So that's gone. But this says 1,600,
For the
and
advertising.
this says nothing.
Dog tags and dog tag fulfillment. Move from. Hesitating on.
She's saying your office supplies increases due to more elections, more supplies needed. Yeah. We got 5 this year. We've got the primary, presidential primary, we've got the state,
Yeah, president's primary local, and
yeah,
the state primary, and then the national election.
Note that the annual town report binding is here. I thought we had the annual report voted on.
So this is different, this is what putting in an official copy. Finding and putting in the archives.
Oh, I see, okay.
Is that the one that's in the library? The library has a bind of all the town history.
they probably, library, probably town, oh,
Yeah, it was nice.
Did go down. Yeah. Two big increases are that printing, advertising, and the subscriptions. Subscriptions due to the public records or software.
yeah,
And the advertising.
what's the town's clerk office advertised for?
I think it's printing, the dog tags and. That's what she increased it. Because if she's not doing that out of this line, there's at least a lot of, but we don't see a,
Decrease in the
we
parking.
don't see a decrease in the parking.
Why would the parking clerk be dogs?
Yeah, it just, I don't think it's for that, it's just before the last,
The beach passes were limited.
yeah, let's move to.
Parks and Rec.
Park and Rec district.
with that.
But in theory, that 4,000. Seems like it would be 3,000 if I'm reading her notes correctly.
Which line?
Printing advertising in, under the parking clerk.
Oh,
So she basically added, 1,100. And her note says dog tags. Roofing parking clerk. Well, as I said, we didn't. We didn't.
so we
decrease.
reduce printing and advertising under parking to 3,000?
That's not thinking.
Okay. So are we okay with this budget or do we want to hold it? Okay. Okay. So I make a motion to approve the town clerk elections and registrations in the amount of $133,144. Do I have a second?
Second.
Cory seconds. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Okay. Now it's. I'm sorry, that was just. Town clerk. Yep. Now we're at elections and registers. Why do these have to all be separate?
Again, I don't have a good answer to that. We can certainly consolidate these.
This elections is this is the multiple.
Yeah.
Right.
Any questions on this budget? So this printing and advertising went down by 2,900. It was eliminated.
Well, but they added it to the professional services.
Oh, okay.
Moved to, yeah, they moved, that was just to relocate. They moved it from one to the other.
Here again, what's the office supplies? Oh, more elections.
And the salary.
It says office supplies.
Salaries is the election.
1751 to 5375, and now it's 10.5, is it?
Well, because of more elections, so,
What, double? I mean,
well, where's the money come from? Because the salary of the town clerk went up. No, that went up over 5%, over 11%.
So it's really because of those additional elections.
But where did the salary come from? It should have been reduced from some other area. Or is somebody being paid overtime? What? I don't quite understand.
So, election, so people, we pay,
our town.
we.
Oh.
the
There's
election-
about
Oh,
5
okay.
people,
the people-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
election workers.
and the lines
Your
are
wife.
very reasonable, so that's good.
I think so.
Yes.
That's her fun money.
rich, we paid them $17.50 an hour.
It's not bad. That's the bad as minimum wage.
That was a good gig. It's $10.99 this year.
Wait till you do your taxes in.
I'll talk to it. So the other piece of it is also for early voting. You have to bring people
Oh, that's right.
for early voting.
Does every single election have a week of early voting before? Except for the town, except for the local.
Yes, we may do it through.
Oh. I like the early voting. I can walk down here instead of having to go to the school.
She's been flooded with mail-in ballots.
Oh, really?
Flooded. I mean, hundreds.
Well, they sent the card to every single home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are using it.
Huh.
Even.
I don't
didn't
trust the
think it
mail
was-
system.
I didn't think this primary was gonna draw that many, but it is. People wanna vote, and they wanna do it by mail.
Interesting.
Maybe that's an argument so about the non-school workers.
Well, they have to feed the Marlene on the election day.
It goes to the rain barrel if they don't spend it.
Okay. I move to approve the elections and registrations budget in the amount of $36,795. Do I have a second?
Second.
Tom seconds. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Because no one works for the.
it's up to you. Lori?
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
And Sarah votes yes. You didn't need motions paid. Okay. Parking clerk. So we dropped the printing and advertising down to 3,000, which will bring the total to 32,795. What's computer control? That's the little things that are.
Those are the.
Handhelds.
Handhelds. Ticket- Yeah, parking ticket machines.
Okay, any questions on this budget?
How much, do we know how much revenue we brought in from parking fines? It's worth it.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
we brought in one of the.
I asked that question, probably like 40 or 50, and it costs us like 30,
No,
maybe I'm off by 10. It's definitely.
Plus the 22.9 computer control.
that's part of it too.
Okay, okay.
I make a motion to approve the parking budget in the amount of $32,795.
30,000.
32. We dropped the printing and advertising down by 1,000 to 3,000.
Second.
Andy seconds. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Town clerk. Now we're to the town accountant. Dues and subscriptions up 47%.
Yeah, $800. This is to have the assistant account also belong to some of the professional associations. Just one for professional development, what I think is helpful.
That's fine.
Any questions?
Is the salary line normal, or was that part of the study?
It's really because of the under appropriating in '04.
So it's the
Okay, so-
assistant town clerk, assistant town accountant that went up. The town accountant went up also.
So they're both,
That was a contract.
they're both getting 3%, but
Okay.
because the 24 number artificially low, it looks like a bigger increase.
Well, this is contract expiring in 2021. Interesting. We have a problem.
Yeah, she has, it's an optional contract. We'll get to it.
So many questions on the account. Move to approve the accountant's budget in the amount of $188,390.
I'll move. Second.
He moves. Maureen seconds. Vote. Tom.
Yes.
Andy.
Right.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Assessors.
So the largest salary increase here is because of moving to a full-time assessor. Clerk, assistant assessor.
No,
Yeah. And then we have an increase in the travel meals to have them again for professional development for the assistant. Those are the two main changes that you see here.
Now, when assistants are hired, is the goal that they will eventually take over for? Did you try to hire somebody who could take over for the assessor since they're called an assistant, or is this really a clerk?
Well, traditionally, this has been more of a clerk position, but I think by making it full-time in the session, I think that we would look towards building it up, as you say, as a feeder.
And if we don't get the qualified person, will we revert down on top to more of a clerk type pay? Because we wouldn't just hire somebody in that position who wasn't qualified, so, right.
I would think the administrative assistant would be more geared towards the permitting stuff than the assessing. Because that's where the backlog was, right?
Yeah.
Well, so this is proposing to separate that out. So the permitting building inspector work will go with the land use clerk. So this person will focus full-time on assessing, to take care of a lot of that data entry, to make sure the mapping is up to date. Taking care of the counter, and all that stuff that we talked about a little earlier.
Right. Because the principal assessor can't get to it now, is there?
And so the principal assessor really needs to be out in the field,
Doing assessment.
doing assessments.
Okay,
That's really,
so that's a field position, and this would be more of an office backup, so someone's,
correct.
So does that mean that if the assessor is out in the field more, that we use those other people less?
Well.
Is that Patriots properties people? Yeah,
So that is a conversation.
okay,
So right now, we're in a fourth year of a 5-year contract with them.
okay.
So they are needed in rebound,
Mhm.
which is now every 5 years.
Okay,
And so instead of having that number go up and down, we spread it out evenly over the 5 years.
Mhm.
But it's a conversation.
I just think we need to really pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, because there's an awful lot of building going on that's not under building. You know, you see the contractors there. I look up online for a building permit and there's none there. And we catch it is with an assessor going around looking at properties more frequently to find upgrades.
Exactly.
No, that's a good point.
Good with the assessor's budget. Motion,
For the assessor's budget, $227,000.
second,
Second.
Tom seconds. Take a vote, Tom,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dean, Sarah says yes. Building department. Those, just all the inspectors.
Pretty status quo, you do see an increase in inspector expenses that's primarily related to the continuing ed requirements. Those inspectors have, so they're required that people are licensed up to date with new classes.
We're on time. Well, they skin stipends, right? So I'm
To include salary for the land use board in this,
that's under planning department. No,
but still, isn't there? We don't want to do that.
no, we don't want to break it out and. Because you got three different areas, right? And that person will be reporting to the planning,
Yes.
the town planner.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's what percent of the full-time are the building, gas and electrical roughly?
So, is it a quarter-time position? It's a education.
Mhm.
That's how much building we have.
But it does vary.
Right.
Again, the CFC project, it's a skew that's significant.
So are we gonna have to adjust those on a one-time basis?
They never asked for that,
Okay,
for the school, that was a big project.
yeah,
Because the big projects, they have their own
people,
people to certify.
okay,
So
okay,
it's,
not a lot of work.
it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
It's a little more work, but not as much as you would think
Yeah.
at first.
Is this sufficient, do you think, for what's going on in town?
Well, they just do all the work and we just pay them a stipend.
Right, I'm questioning are they doing,
So
is the work getting?
for the trades, yeah, so you have the perennial debate about the buildings.
Right,
That's where we have the debate.
Yeah.
Um,
but for the trades, you have to do it for occupancy, so.
Well, the
Yeah, but-
electrical inspector showed up at my house for my solar system because they can't sign off the building permit unless he's
Yeah.
been there.
it seems to be working pretty well. I haven't had complaints on that.
He was very talented.
Yes,
He's retired.
Yeah.
And he likes his job.
good.
It's getting done.
You doing this?
Building inspection. $100,500.
Andy moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Lori seconds. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy, Warren,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes.
So just a aside, that the software permitting for 19 goes in here and under the IT.
Right, so that's where you see that stock, what it's going to, for the permits. That's what we're- The treasure collector, pretty status quo across the board. Slight increase for, some of our banking services, the professional services line went up a little bit.
The assistant to the treasurer, is that a full-time position?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, there used to be another part-time
Yeah,
position in
Yeah.
the treasurer's, and they've done fine.
Okay.
They feel comfortable with the two of them. Busy, but comfortable. So,
I've never had problems with it. Open somebody that sometimes have to. Checks back on the computer working. I can't see you.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're good with this?
Motion to accept the treasurer collector at $205,567.
Maureen moves, Andy seconds. Take a vote, Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes.
The next is debt. It's pretty locked in. That is what it is. It does assume that we will be going, that we will be having the new bonds, so that's where you see that 30,000.
Oh, so let's hold on this budget until we figured out the strategy for the capital budget. Okay. That's on our agenda to discuss. One of them, so I remember that we haven't voted on. You know, if it was all in line, how would I mark the fact that we hadn't voted on it, Andy? Are you marking our votes?
What you do is you color code the,
Employee benefits, insurance and pension.
So emails to, the little notes and questions about different things about the envelopes.
Oh, okay.
So the pension number did come down a little bit,
Oh, good.
about 40,000.
Still at 8%.
So
Oh, no, you're saying it's less than.
so on page 98, if you have the book.
Yep.
So you see, here at the bottom.
Yep.
Contributory pension. That number should now read 1719726.
That's good.
So it's about $4,000 on. It just came in lower than what we were estimating.
Okay.
We estimated
Right.
8%, came in.
So the total was 3,729,403. That's what I come up with. It's like a 39 something, 39 plus, just under 40,000.
$3,729,403.
Yep, that's what I did. Good. And the casualty and liability insurance number, is that a good number?
Yes.
What did we do wrong there? Oh, my casualty went way up.
So we have, did you see an increase there?
Yeah.
Part of that's the market, partly we're picking up some additional coverage, More, we never had more, and, public docs coverage. We have added.
Wow. This is what we made it lucky.
That was a whole, that was out of order.
Not sure, what's the delta for that, or what's the cost for that?
It went up 20,000 from.
Yeah, I can't, I have to give you better break, I don't have that breakdown.
That's all right.
And the insurance number, I do expect to come down. Of health insurance. I hope to have it by today, I should have it by next week.
Okay, so let's hold on this budget.
Drops, the clerk salaries, we did keep them in for just doing minutes, but nothing else. Just again, being a little cautious as we move towards a full-time land use clerk. So if we see an overall drop, we can keep 5,000 in there, and then the other numbers are level.
Do we have an issue with the accounting of the recording fees? Well, the actual for 2023 is showing 525. No way is that correct. It's over $100 per filing. We had at least 25 filings, and I'm just wondering, do we have a problem with the accounting of it?
That's a good question.
I'm wondering if they're all coming, I know that they bill us.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they're all, for all areas are coming in together. Or something.
Could be.
I don't know. Okay. Because it should be like 2,500 a year.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent applications. Any questions on this budget?
This land use clerk is also going to building.
Yeah,
Right now, we're still on the.
we're on ZBA.
Yep.
Page 102. So right now, the person who takes minutes is also processing the applications that come in. And I think the plan is to have the land use clerk do that. And touch base with the town planner when appropriate, to make sure it gets to the correct department.
And we think that'll reduce the backlog it takes for people to get permits. I mean, that was. the
There's
same-
no backlog in ZBA. This is.
No.
It's just been a coordination between the boards
Yeah.
and with the building inspector too, to make sure that when permits are issued, that the information is well communicated to the building inspector so that he knows what he's permitting and needs to inspect.
Right, no, that's,
Sometimes there's been some things that fall through.
I mean, we have an appeal going on, I don't, it's been going on for over a year. And the look of the design submitted to the ZBA was different than the design
right.
approved on the building permit, and a resident made an issue over it. Now I allege we don't approve designs, but still, you know, there should have been some recognition of the fact that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that type of thing that falls through the cracks, and also to have somebody consistently explaining to residents what board they need to go to, and when they need to go to a board.
Consistency is important. Good word, that's the
Right.
operative word, so
Right,
one person is saying the same thing, but the same thing.
Yes.
yeah. I mean, we had one person who filed for a variance and claimed that, you know, somebody had told him it was okay.
Motion to approve the zoning board of appeals budget.
Second,
Roy seconds, Andy moves, Roy seconds, Tom,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
Warren,
yes,
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. That has nothing to do with budget. Planning.
So here you see it's an increase, we've shifted some dollars to here, to have like a full-time planner, and so not all the money for the land use clerk is here, some of that is still in the, building inspector budget. But that 127 accounts for the planner and the land use clerk, and so for those two positions. And then everything else has been level funded. There isn't, in capital, you do see, 20,000 for, for zoning. Consultants. So that could
For
be,
what purpose?
so it could be for upgrading and amendments to the zoning, whether it be the floodplain regulations, the work, some additional work on 3A. Didn't know if we were.
That was removed from this year's budget. There's no 20,000.
Is that
There's no 20,000 in the budget.
in the capital?
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, in capital.
I don't understand how we rein this in.
In your account,
Mhm.
in terms of just this particular operating budget, or
Planning board type use of legal and consultants and that sort of thing. Seems to me like we're spending a lot of money for not getting anything done.
also, why would it be capital and not an operating? I mean, you could make, if you look at the capital, it's kind of the same amount each year within this.
you could,
I mean, it's expensed in a year. I mean, it's sort of probably, I don't know, maybe it's a hard argument to say the work that they're doing at the beginning of this coming fiscal year is amortized over 5 years.
I would rather see it operating.
Seem cleaner.
you could easily put that in the professional services.
Should we do that?
I was having a problem.
Cleaner accounting.
I don't like little crap in. In the capital, rather than that big stuff. It's not recurring.
So that's basically ongoing studies, and that we're doing over the next several years.
But there's ongoing need to amend the zoning regs. So that's what I would see it being useful for.
So is it effectively part of professional services?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like having that consultant come in to do the MBTA stuff.
That was a grant.
But
Right,
yes,
but it's similar to.
but it is simple to,
Yeah.
yes.
Not like the person they had working on the zone.
It's a combination of issues, but we'll leave that for now.
So are we pushing it from?
At 154,006.
Oh, we're going, okay.
And remove from capital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
The professional services.
Yeah.
make a motion for, line four, $154,006.
Second.
Maureen moves and Andy second. Take a vote. Tom?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. So are we done with general government?
You did much work.
Now,
We pushed one, right?
I would like to go to Public Works. Snow and ice, since we received the 5-year history on the snow and ice.
Yeah, I think it's just over 140, I think 141 was it?
140, where is it? Thought it was 143. Look it up.
Yeah, no, it's 131 according to the.
No.
142.
142 is a good number.
There's 141.9.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm sorry, I'm talking about page number.
Versus 160, which is where we have.
okay, did you find the page number?
I did.
What?
I'm going to page 140,
Okay,
but we should be on page 131.
So it's not 161?
well,
Well, that's the discussion.
right, so
Okay.
what we did last year was we talked to Andrea about it and we reduced it because we looked at the 5-year average. And the state thinks it's reasonable if your amount is based on a 5-year average.
Right.
Because we've been carrying it way too high. So now this year's 5-year average is rounded at 142, let's say.
So we'll see.
No, we gotta be over that average.
Okay.
142.
How about 145? Is that okay?
All right.
Works for me.
That's a motion to approve the snow and ice bucket, 145,000.
Second.
Andy moves, Dean seconds. Let's take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dean, and
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. I'm sure Mike would approve. Okay. So we got that done. We have minutes. Yeah, January 10th, I made some edits and sent them around. I don't know if anybody had a chance to read them.
Okay, what more?
I was trying to make it more clear.
Yeah,
I think that sometimes the minutes are being too abbreviated for the finance committee, and I want to make sure that people understand
compensation.
the conversation. Yeah. That's fine. So I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 10th, 2024. Andy moves,
Second.
Tom seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Take a vote. Tom,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
That's,
Dean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Did we have another 7 minutes? I didn't locate them.
What's the third? Those approved.
Gail, what minutes are outstanding?
I'm gonna have to admit I've lost track.
Okay,
All right, let's come back.
so we approved the ones from 110. Let us know if we have anything else outstanding. I didn't find anything, but that doesn't mean much.
I'll review that and put it together this week.
Thank you. I wanted to talk a little bit about the schedule. We've made quite a few changes. And one of the changes we made, I don't think was a good change on my part. And that was currently we have the school budget being reviewed on February 22nd, which is school vacation week. So I'm thinking that's not a good week. Well, next week, we were doing library and parks and rec. I can check with the library to see if they can move to the 22nd or a later meeting. I've been kind of working with the library. And next week I'm gonna have to be remote. I'm not gonna be able to come into the meeting.
Uh, I'd say, probably want to be here for the school.
Yeah. And I'm thinking the library might want me here for the library.
So, 1 second,
28. That's when we're going to do CPC and capital.
Is CPC ready?
They have a report. I think we're meeting next week.
Okay, so
But
they
after
don't have the time.
Thursday, yeah, it's not. Yeah, our meeting is the 15th, but we're gonna discuss those.
So didn't we say the school was voting on their budget like? the
They did last
21st?
night.
They did last night.
And they approved a budget increase of, overall budget increase of 2.99%, an increase in assessments of 2.94%, which is an increase for Manchester of
Right, do you want to?
1.84. And Essex increases 4.82.
That's a slight increase from what was.
Oh, is it higher than what was in here?
It's a little, it's like 15,000 high.
Oh, well, we saved that.
Yes. Yeah, no, not worried about it.
At one point, we were gonna do library with Parks and Recs on the 14th.
Yes.
Slide that in.
I mean, we can leave it for next week. Okay,
If you're able to remote it.
I'll remote it, yeah.
That can. It might be helpful to have. Andy, you chair, you vice chair,
Yeah, it's,
just run the meeting.
Yeah, I can't run, I'm not allowed to run the meeting per se remotely.
Yeah.
There needs to be somebody in the room, and we need at least 4 people in the room.
right, what do I, let me know if I have any
You just,
additional duties besides showing up.
you just, no, you just have to read off the agenda items. You have to call the meeting to order and read off the agenda items.
You can have a.
Call the votes. That's easy.
Oh, yeah, call the vote.
We'll pass
Keep
through
your
votes.
eyes on.
Okay, so where's my calendar? So we finished general government. We have to circle back around on DPW. Because we didn't approve those budgets because we were waiting for the second quarter reports,
Yep.
right? We have for the 228, we have CPC and funding for capital strategy. So hopefully that meeting we can knock off capital, right? Do we skip the meeting on the 22nd?
Pick it up on the.
Okay, so wait a minute, let me,
Unless we get swapped, CPC and capital. But anybody's swapped, school vacation.
I probably won't be able to participate on the 22nd.
let's cancel. Okay,
That's off open.
yeah,
On another date for the school.
so for the school
First week in March.
would be March 6th. So 3/6, we do the school district. Invoke tech, is that okay?
No conflict.
$313 would be finalize whole budgets. There's what month?
March.
There's no March 18th meeting. March 21st,
It's a Thursday.
yeah,
What was the final?
Well, I won't be here.
Budgets.
313. Do you know when we need the report done by?
So it was 313.
Finalize the whole budgets.
Okay.
Need the report by. Um. We need the report done by that first week of April.
The end of the first week?
On the fourth.
Yeah, Thursday, okay,
Thursday.
yeah. Okay,
So if you finalize it on the third.
okay,
Have to go in remotely.
okay,
That's about February.
okay.
But when are we looking at doing the school on this?
March 6th, okay. And then we have. Okay, so 4-3. Will be approved report. Okay, and for now, we have
So that gives you, yeah,
the 21st. And the 27th. With no scheduled meetings at this point.
This is not a Ben Sherman year, he was in last year, I think.
But he updates it every year, right? Doesn't he
Yeah.
give the town something every year?
good, yeah.
So I don't think we need him in, but we need a copy of that report.
Right.
Okay, wait a minute. When are the warrant articles gonna be ready?
That's right.
Gotta vote on the warrant articles.
Nice.
So that sort of tracks the selectmen and we want to be before that, right?
So, yeah, so we need those done by the 27th.
Of March?
Town meeting is rescheduled.
Of course, April 24th.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
So will the warrant articles be available on 3/21?
Yes. We should have,
Oh, I think I have a conflict on that date. Can we vote on the warrant articles on 3/27, or is that too late?
no, that's okay.
Okay. 3/27,
If there's any way that your report can be done on the 27th.
warrant articles and finalized report.
So
Yeah, let's try to do that. Yes,
I might have a conflict for next week. 14th, because you'll be remote, and Andy's running the meeting.
so we just need 1, 2, you'll be here, will you be here next week?
Yes.
So we need to make sure one more person's here.
All right, Laura, Peter.
So.
Okay. And you think you'll be able to do the SharePoint for us again for the report, Andy? Okay,
Would you like Cheryl in next week for hiking that?
do we want Cheryl in?
No, bring that in. It's happening,
We need it. Do we need to have a conversation with her on what's going on with fields and that sort of thing?
Just it's always the thing for me is how we maintain them. Don't maintain them. Think of them.
I think that's now with, if you done.
Facilities, you know. We complained to Cheryl, but she didn't have the power to do anything about it.
But there's some of the expended numbers, we need beach. Up there.
And did we want a conversation about Parks and Rec? Having their capital items on the capital plan, and what's on the capital plan, determine whether it's CPC or town money.
We talked about,
So maybe we should have Cheryl, yeah,
that's fine.
just to have those conversations.
As a placeholder, Sarah, there's, Peter's working on this thing for the lawn. Maybe that would be dovetailing the parks, right?
Next week, the 14th,
As he said, that it's gonna be done.
it's on the, I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was on the select board's agenda to come up relatively soon.
Do it the night of the whole budgets.
You know, they'll be talking to us on the 20th.
Do it on the 13th, or March 13th, for the whole budget.
Okay,
Sorry, what did you just say?
So we do it on the March 13th when we do the whole budget.
Okay.
yeah,
How this news moves around on that. I bumped into a guy at the sandwich shop in Peabody and says, "Oh, I hear the town's buying Tommy Baker's thing." Well, I think it's in discussion.
was he excited?
He worked for Tom. He's one of his employees.
Oh, okay.
This guy's.
Hire me back.
Nothing to do with it.
So what is Andrea's schedule for like updating, like her spreadsheet here?
Well, now that we've done a good chunk,
Okay,
I'll give it these new numbers. And she'll start updating.
so maybe, yeah. I guess I'd like a new spreadsheet
Yeah,
before February 28th,
Sure.
yeah. Because the 22nd, we're not doing.
Yeah, the-
Yeah.
Say the big number to change, I hope, is
The health.
health. So,
Because I think that's important to have all that information when we get to the funding for capital strategy. To see how much we have left over in taxation.
Yep.
To have a discussion on the bond. And a discussion on the OPEB again. Because I think our vote took too much out of reserves.
well, if you're gonna fund the facility,
Yeah.
better for the school.
Yeah, so I think that we just, and that we don't have yet. Yeah. So I guess we need, I guess by the 28th, we need to understand what other items we might have that we haven't considered. Just to try to tie it,
Just be sure you're answering the second.
yes. To have a week, no, maybe a week, a few meetings.
That's a retirement book.
Good people always get asked.
So when I was talking to my doctor yesterday, she says, "So you retired?" "Oh, yeah, I retired in July of 2020, but I'm doing this, and that." She said, "You don't sound retired." I said, "Oh, well, you know, you gotta keep busy."
You successfully have done that.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to adjourn? A second. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to get, I didn't expect to get through that.
Yeah, this went faster than I thought. Yeah. I appreciate that.
And so I think people do need to go back and look at the second quarter information versus some of those budgets we put on hold. Just to see
Right.
if it
Right,
impacts it.
DPW.
Yeah,
with the other-
yeah. I mean, we did the snow and ice, that one was put on hold because of that. But we had other questions for DPW. And we just escaped my mind right now.
Yeah, I think we put sanitation up.
So, yeah, we got a question about the, we paid to go back, they just go back.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it looked like, excuse me, disposal was down. Year to date,
Yeah,
we were under 50%.
yeah.
I don't know if that's timing.
Good night, folks.
Good night. If the leaves, people take off on the pool bar. Oh, thank you, great.
We've been spoiled. We